I'm giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Bashem Rakakudah. Shalom to the 144,000. The rest of you elect out there. Shalom to you all. I hadn't watched this video. There's a number of videos dealing with the subject of the lake of fire. But, and I may go to some other videos. I may go to my, okay, let me see something. I was watching this earlier, some of it, really all of it, actually. So this is going to be kind of a sort of a response to the lake of fire is the destruction of Babylon the Great, which is the U.S., more proof. When it speaks about the beast being destroyed, being cast in the lake of fire, the war in heaven in Revelation 12, it's all talking about one event. It's not talking about different events. It's not talking about the beast being destroyed, then the beast being picked up by an angel and, flown out to Basra and dipped in Basra. Yeah, these dudes are going off, man. But, hey, the Most High set up stumbling blocks so you can follow them. And this whole hell thing really started with IUIC, which they're clearly going off on. Scripture said, "The child left himself shall be willful." But I'm trying to find a video. If I can find it, but I'm not going to go crazy. Okay, I was watching this one. The New Kids on the Block. False unity resurrected to another lake of fire, varying doctrines. And there's a video, he goes through that. The videographer, which is out of the elder, the head of the camp of the Baltimore, by the name, he goes by the name of Karate Sabah. And he said a lot in a little time. He said a whole lot. It says, this is still of Ariala, whatever his rank is. He's pretty much saying you got to get the young guys. It doesn't work that way. It's not like we're playing in the NFL and we get retired. Okay, y'all retire. It doesn't work that way. The prophets, when you go back to the time of Babylon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all just to name a few of them, there was a bunch of prophets that were all together. They knew each other. Ezra was during that time period, and now during that time period, some of the prophets were up in age, and some of the prophets were kids, or at least one, which is Jeremiah. When it said Jeremiah was a child, he was pre-pubescent. In other words, he was maybe 10 or 11 years old. He wasn't even a man yet. When you go look it up when he says, "I'm a child." Because when do you become a man? You become a man or a young man when you hit 12. Your voice gets deeper. You may grow hair on your face or whatever, your chest or your arms or whatever. That's when you know that a son is he's experiencing what's the term? You got pre-pubescent, we got pubescent, post-pubescent. So once you hit 12, that's when you start to get those feelings. 12, 13, 14, when you're like 8, 7, I get that those are girls, get them away from me or whatever. And then when you hit 12, 13, that's when you kind of start. I know at least it was for me. When I was 11, 12, I had a little girlfriends here on the side, rub them up and take them behind someplace and rub up on them, kiss them and stuff like that. and that was you started saying, oh, I got to get with these girls. So as you grow, you come more mature as far as dealing with women through experiences. But so when he says, Ariella says, Shah Ariella, he says that, oh, the young guys got to know, it doesn't work that way. You're going to have guys that are older, guys that are more middle-aged, and guys that are almost children, and even children. Jeremiah was a child. Jeremiah was prepubescent, as I said. So there's no retirement plan for a prophet. That's a topic right there. It shows you that these guys are not, the Spirit's not dealing with these guys. There is a retirement plan for a priest when he's 50 years old. That's a pretty good job. 50 years old, you don't got to work no more, and you're being taken care of by the priesthood, the money that comes in, and you're pretty much an advisor. But a prophet, there's no retirement plan for a prophet. You can't say, oh, I'm 70 years old, I don't got to go out there. No, if you're 85 years old and you can still speak and walk and move and think, you got to be out there until the Most High takes your spirit. So now in this video, he mentioned certain other camps that he's cool with, and he said, you got to watch the video. He said, even though some of them they teach that the Sabbath is Friday, Sunday, and Saturday, sundown, he obviously teaches that the new moon is based upon the full moon. Where do you think he got that from? He came up under Sakari. The Genesis came up under Sakari. The leader of Sakari came up under GMS. So Al-Azhar, watch the videos, take notes. When we said, oh, the new moon the new moon is a dark moon, which he went by. Everybody says that except IUIC because they're going off again. And the Sabbath is based upon the new moon. Well, when Al-Azhar heard that, he said it makes sense. When we said the mark of the beast is the microchip, now he could have said, well, I don't agree with it, or it makes sense. Let me do some research on my own. Yeah, it does make sense. The question should be why, if we said that the MOTB is micro C hip, and he says that the MOTB is micro C hip, and Al-Azhar, Sakari, and Genesis say the MOTB is a micro C hip, and then you got IUICs that said it is not. You got ISBK said it's not. Wi-Fi said it is not. There's a problem there. Somebody's wrong. But he made a statement that he mentioned a couple of camps that he's cool with, even though those camps, we don't see eye to eye on the Sabbath. He said, well, if you're cool with them, do you know that them camps that you're cool with, according to the scriptures and according to what you said in this video, they're going to wind up in a lake of fire. Because if you cool with a camp, you have a unity. Let's deal with the madness of a unity camp. If you got a camp, 2-3 camps together, one camp don't believe in the MOTB, the second camp does believe in the MOTB, and maybe the other camp believes in either way. If somebody comes up and says, what's your view on the MOTB? The guy that says the MOTB is a micro C hip is going to say that, and then the other guys are going to say no. So how in the hell can there be unity? Is synonymous with harmony, coming together, being on the same. The old term, we're on the same page. You guys are not on the same page. But according to what he said, those guys are going to wind up, even though you cool with them, they're going to wind up in a lake of fire. And you know it based on what you say, which the lake of fire is talking about. Let me do this. So you can watch this video. Short, I think it's about 20 minutes long. So let me do this. So this is the lake of fire. It's the destruction of Babylon the Great. We all know what Babylon the Great is, or where it's located. More proof. I didn't watch this video, but this is the opening of it, right? Now, doesn't that look like a lake of fire? A lake of fire, unless it's a man-made lake. Like a pool is pretty much a man-made lake, right? Esau, this man then made man-made lakes. He then dug into the ground, and then put water in it, let it rain or so forth. It might take, I don't know how long, but there are man-made lakes, right? So now this is a lake that looks like like if you look at different lakes around the world, they're not perfectly square, they're not perfectly round, they're not perfectly oval shaped. They kind of, you got to dip over here, you got it over here. You might got this sticking out or not. So John on the Isle of Patmos, this is what he saw. Spirit took him up into the sky. Whether he took his brain, his spirit up in the sky and his body was on the bottom, or he took his body up, whatever the case may be. I'm just saying that just to be saying it. He looked down. He looked down on this thing where he said, wow, there's a lake of fire. There's a lake on fire. That he saw a lake. He wrote, "There's fire." What's the lake of? He saw Babylon the Great after the missiles hit it, because the missile's going to cause that fire. The missiles are going to cause that fire. So this is almost exactly what John saw. He didn't know that. He didn't know that was America. He didn't understand the concept of what's America. So he wrote it down, in his notes, which is the book of Revelation. And he mentioned it, I believe it was 4 times. So if anybody that says, oh, the lake of fire is something other than Babylon being destroyed, you're going to wind up in the lake of fire. He spoke about the lake of fire in 2 different chapters, in Revelation 19 and 20, also in Revelation 20, verses 10, 14, and 15. So it behooves you to get the truth right. If you're saying it means this and I'm going to stick with it, and you're wrong, you're going to wind up in the lake of fire. And nobody's thrown in the lake of fire. So now when you, like it says here, it says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, which represents the Roman Catholic Church and the whole church system. The beast represents NATO and EU. Remember, Babylon the Great is part of the beast, although in some parts of the book of Revelation it says that as a woman that sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, the woman is still part of the beast. Sometimes it refers to her as a woman, sometimes it refers to a beast, sometimes it refers to a woman sitting on the beast. But how do we know that America is a part of the beast? Because it's part of NATO. NATO, another word for NATO is the beast. So it says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. So they're going to deceive you, cause you to go in the air, tell you. They're going to have pastors that's going to say, you got people going around saying that this is the microchip is the mark. It ain't. I'm telling you it ain't. And they're going to follow their pastors, man. If Bishop Nate, which I believe Bishop Nate is going to say, nope, don't take it. It's the mark of the beast. So you mean to tell me that GMS was right? Yes, GMS was right. GMS was always right. Or he can say, nah, there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead and take it. I don't believe he's going to say that. I believe he's going to jump ship from that false doctrine that he's been pushing out there. But let's say he doesn't. That just proves he's an insider. That's all. And it proves that he gonna wind up in a lake of fire too. So he'll get it. It's gonna be I could keep going through this. You know, Captain Tazariak, he clowns us that GMS, the high priest of GMS is Alex Jones. I don't get mad at that because you don't know. First of all, you're still a baby in this thing, okay? And you don't know all the scriptures. So, whether you go by the fact that you teach, rather, that the MOTB which is a marketed beast, is an embargo. You're doing it based upon the leader of the ISUPK and the followers of IUIC, following Bishop Nate. They believe it because the leader said it. Now, to show you, if he would have said, you know what, he said, you know what, the Spirit came to me in a dream and showed me that the MOTB is a micro C hip, don't take it. Guess what? Everybody in the IUIC all of a sudden going to see it, and then when they go out on the street and somebody asks about it, they're going to defend it just like we defend it. But they ain't going to give us no credit. So when this thing happens, I'm going to be, the first videos I'm going to go to is IUIC, ISBK, Captain Tazariak, because it is going to be worldwide breaking news by a madman. Now, Trump, he's now saying that Biden was a clone, that he was put to death in 2020. He came into office in 2021, January. But in 2020, when he declared president, it really wasn't him. It was a clone. That's what this guy's teaching. That's what Trump is teaching. So if you think he's playing with a full deck, he's five sandwiches. What's the old saying? The elevator works, but it doesn't go to the top floor. It doesn't go to the penthouse. He's five sandwiches short of a picnic. Any of those sayings you can use. He's not playing with a full deck for him to make up. But we say things and they think we're crazy. So you should start saying Trump is fucking crazy. Nah, that guy's a clone. As a matter of fact, and they're leaving it out the news. Let me do this. Give me a second here. See, we're going to have some fun with this. You got too many Jakes out there that you got a leader, and whatever that clown says, you just believe it. You don't question it. And that's the word. Look up the word indoctrination. That means somebody gives you a set of a doctrine, and you can't question it. Donald Trump said that Biden is a clone. Biden is a clone. Trump amplifies another outlandish conspiracy theory. Biden is a robot. Somebody should go to the amendment to the Constitution and go to Amendment 25. Yahoo, or Yahoo News, Yahoo. Joe Biden is secretly a robot clone per a new conspiracy theory Trump has amplified. Wow. This is New York Times. So this is not no made up, New York Times, Yahoo News, The Independent. Trump shares baseless conspiracy that Joe Biden died and was replaced by a robot clone. Rolling Stone magazine, New York Post, Trump shares and so they're not talking about impeaching this guy or applying the 25th Amendment. Somebody read it. I'm not gonna go to it. This is crazy, bro. So you've been for the last from 2021 to 2025 for 4 years, from 2021 to 2025, we had a president was actually a robot, a malfunctioning robot, a clone, according to the king of Babylon. They should be talking about that all day. Anyway, let me come back over here. Where am I? I'm going to X this out. Okay, so now let's go ahead. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me bring this over. Okay, so I'm gonna read. So I put in lake of fire, right? Revelation 19:20, and the beast, which includes America and Canada, but Canada's not going to be destroyed. Europe, these other NATO nations in Europe on the other side of the world, they're not going to be utterly destroyed. So they're not going to be actually cast in a lake of fire. And nobody's going to be cast. John the apostle saw that in the image of an angel casting something into what appears to be a lake of fire. What really is going to happen is missiles are going to shoot this place. The whole earth is going to quake. All these buildings, these tall buildings and houses are going to crumble. So the earth's going to have to be built back up. It's going to definitely change the way the globe looks. It says, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. The angel's not going to grab the Pope. Okay, I got you too, Pope. I'm going to throw you in. Or he's not going to pull the Vatican City, which is 2 square miles. He's not going to pull it from the foundation, pick it up, and throw it in the lake of fire. That's not going to happen. That wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast. And that's the micro C-hip, the microchip. That's what it is. That's what it is. And them that worship his image. And that's not an image of Caesar Borgia. That's talking about being a part of the system. So that means Muslims are going to worship the image. Atheists are going to start believing in the image. No. It's talking about being a part of the system. You can't work, you can't buy, you can't sell. These both were cast alive into a lake burning with brimstone. That's not going to actually happen. That's a vision that he saw, and he wrote it down as such. But he saw a lake, and what he saw was Babylon on fire. Revelation 20, verse 10. And the devil that deceived him, the devil is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, was cast into the lake of fire. Oh, and by the way, to heart, the 7 wasn't teaching that. Now, if you were teaching right there, they would kick you out. Well, good, I would have gladly left. I would have said, that's what it is. I'm not budging. Well, you got to leave. Okay, shalom, I'm out. See, a lot of you clowns, you're part of a group. You're part of that group think, that herd mentality. And that's how it was at the One West. You had a lot of stupid people in One West. And anytime they said something, they would just follow it. They would just blindly follow it. You're always going to have zombies. There's more zombies than normal folk. I see zombies every fucking day. Every time I go to one of you videos, I see a bunch of zombies. 10th verse, Revelation 20, verse 10. And the devil, shouldn't you be afraid, Tahar? What if comes out, you're going to be embarrassed. I'm not going to be embarrassed. How sure are you that the MOTB is a micro C-hip? I'm 1,000,000,000% sure. How about that? And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire. That's America. Nobody's going to be, the angel's not going to, what's that big thing? You got a big angel with the Vatican City on his back, and he throws it in the lake of fire. Then he goes get America. Then he picks up America by the roots and throws it in the lake of fire. Then he gets the false prophets, and you got Israelite teaching the Yah Israelite. He bounds them up. The Yah Israelites, the Kemetic Jakes, Baptist Methodists, he just picks them up. Yeah. Oh, there he goes. He's bringing the Baptists. He got all these niggas that are Baptists. Yeah. You see how stupid that is? If you look at this thing literally. That's why we say we got 100% truth. All these other guys are clowns. And the devil that deceived them was cast into deceived them of what? To taking a chip. Because the penalty of you taking a chip, you're going to be cast in the lake of fire. Meaning you're going to be here in America and be destroyed. This motherfucker's done. This place, Babylon, is fucking done. It's done. It's done. You got a bunch of, what did I just say about Trump? And he's still the king of Babylon? It said where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And America is going to be destroyed, according to Nate. It's going to be destroyed by fire. Then it's going to turn into the lake of fire, but your spirit is going to burn there forever. These guys are whack, like the scriptures say, they waxing worse and worse. And like I said, how sure are you about this MOTB, Tar? I'm 1,000,000,000% sure. How many billions can go into a trillion? 1,000 billions could go into a trillion. And 14 verse, Revelation 20 verse 14, and death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Now, Christians say the lake of fire is an eternal hell, but hell is also an eternal hell. How can you cast hell into hell? Revelation 20 verse 15, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. The ones that are not found written in the book of life among the Israelite so-called that call themselves prophets is found in Revelation 22 verse 18 and 19. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and get it. Let me do this. I'll go to the 19th verse. If any man take away from the words of the prophecy of this book, the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part out of the book of life. I just read in Revelation 20, the book of life. If you're not in the book of life, you're going to wind up in the lake of fire. So if Bishop Nate or Captain Zazariak or General Yohana or any of y'all say that the MOTB is an embargo, it's not the micro C-hip, don't listen to GMS. If they're wrong, they're going to be cast into the lake of fire. And out of the holy city and from the things which are written in the book. So you can be Israelite false prophets. Okay, you're going to be found out to be a false. You think you're a prophet, you're going to be found out to be a false prophet. It said it says the Most High going to redact you from the book of life. Then go back to Revelation 20. Who's going to be cast into the lake of fire? Anybody that's not written in the book of life. So a lot of you Israelites that know you're Israelites, you're going to be cast according to these guys. So anyway, let me play some of this. Go right over here. Not going to play the whole thing, but
the earth itself is going to be, shaken at the presence of the Lord. The earth itself is going to shake at the presence of Babylon the Great. So it's going to mark as a chaotic event. At that time, we've showed you various scriptures. The elect will be delivered. But the doctrine that's creeping in is that basically, America's going to be destroyed. But the lake of fire is a separate judgment after that, to where individual.
Yeah, but then you got Genesis is saying it's a place, Basra, that the angel's gonna carry. Okay, no, you niggas ain't you got burnt by the missiles, but we're gonna pick your ass up, we're gonna dust your ass off, and then we're gonna fly you. You're gonna be flown out to Basra, and then we're gonna dip you in the lake of Basra. There's no lake of Basra.
Individuals will be tossed into it. All right. In particular, Israelites will be tossed into it, and they will burn forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Which basically is not scriptural. And we're going to show you that.
Like I said, they're waxing worse and worse. They're waxing worse and worse. How do you spell worse? Worse and worse. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Let me open it up. And let me do this. I want to go read it in the NLT and maybe even the BBE. But evil men and seducers shall wax. I'm sorry. NLT. But evil people and impostors will flourish. They will deceive others and will themselves be deceived. Evil and false men will become worse and worse, using deceit, and themselves overcome by deceit. Let's see what else we can pull out. Let's go to the Amplified. But evil men and impostor prophets will go on from bad to worse, deceiving and being deceived.
The destruction of Babylon the Great and the lake of fire are the same judgment. Okay. Now, I'm here in the book of Revelation, the 19th chapter, which the Apostle Tahar, did a lesson showing you that Daniel, the 7th chapter, and Revelation, the 19th chapter is the same event. Let me read Daniel, the 7th chapter real quick, because we know the end of Esau's world marks the coming of Yahushua marks the end of Esau's world. And the end of Esau's world will be marked by the revival of the fourth beast, which is the Western Roman Empire. The very system we live in is a revival, all right, of the ancient Greco-Roman Empire. But we know that pursuant to Revelation, the 13th chapter, the dragon, the red dragon, gave him his seat, power, and authority, and that's the Western Roman Empire, and that's the authority that has been reestablished via this Renaissance, which means rebirth. And here in Daniel, the 7th chapter and the 7th verse, you have the fourth beast, okay, which is the Western Roman Empire. But there's another little horn, all right, that ultimately comes up, which that's Babylon the Great. All right. And as you read in these prophecies, the return of Yahweh Shai is marked by the destruction, the fire. Okay. As a matter of fact, Daniel 7 and 9, and I beheld till the thrones were cast down, which is the rulership of the heathen nations. And the Ancient of Days did sit. The Most High God Yahweh makes a decision, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his heads like the pure wool. So the Most High himself, all right, has a head. He has hair. Okay. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as a burning fire. Okay. A fire stream issued forth and came forth from before him. Thousands.
This is a vision of the Heavenly Father. This is not an actual event. The Heavenly Father is not coming down. He will come down in the form of fire. He's going to be in those missiles to make the missiles go from point A to point B.
Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. Okay, the same thing that we read about, which we did a lesson on the other day in Revelation, the 20th chapter. Okay, the books being open. Let's get that in Revelation, the 20th chapter, where it talks about.
Yeah, the books were open. When you go to Daniel 12, it said the book was sealed. That's also in Revelation 5. The book was sealed. So when it said the books are open, that means the books are unsealed. That means we, the prophet, true prophets, breaking it down the right way.
The books being open. Okay. At the return of Yahweh Shai. Revelation 20 and 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was no place found for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life, which ultimately we showed you. That's just the final judgment. Okay. It's not like at this time, you know, the Most High is going to, you know, have a book, and, you know, people are just going to be standing before him. Basically, the book represents whatever your judgment, which was given unto you from the foundation of the earth, is. You'll get it. Now, when you go back to Daniel 7, all right, remember the Most High, okay, is sending Yahweh Shai, judgment time. All right, and as you read Daniel 7:11, it says, and I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, Babylon the Great. You hear their pride even now, right? I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. See that? And that ultimately is marked by the coming of Yahweh Shai. Okay? Now, getting back to the
burning flame is a lake of fire.
Point here in Revelation, the 19th chapter. Salakia. Let's get Revelation, the 19th chapter. Because at Yahweh Shai's return, he's coming to make war. Okay? He's coming to make war. And when he comes, we know that, you know, Esau and his armies are going to fight, okay, against the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is Revelation 19 and 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. So again, this is the war in heaven. It's time for you Israelites to throw the mythology and the fables away. The men of the Lord are here giving you the understanding. Okay, there's no war that's going to take place in the spiritual realm. The scriptures, all right, tell us, even in our prayer, we want the environment on earth to be as it is in heaven. Okay, the earth is out of order. The heavens are completely in order. We seek to bring the order of the heavens to the earth. Now, at the time that that Yahweh Shai returns, these nations are going to be fighting against him. Okay, and at that time, pursuant to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, right, the elect will be delivered, and Yahweh Shai is going to be shooting fire. There's going to be war going on. Babylon's going to be engulfed in fire. It's going to be a chaotic event. So as you read in verse 20, it says, and the beast was taken with him, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him. Basically, when the Most High sends Yahweh Shai, that's the end of this whole demonic wicked system. Okay, and again, there's going to be other places engulfed in fire. Okay, but pretty much the power structure of Esau Edom is destroyed at this point. Okay, it says, and the beast was taken. Okay, this whole system is going to fall, and the false prophet, which we know is the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, but they're all in cahoots, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast. See that? And them that worshipped his image, these both were cast alive into a lake of burning fire with brimstone. Okay, so the lake of fire is burning with brimstone. Keep that in mind. All right, so let's go to the book, all right, of Jeremiah. All right, let's see here. Jeremiah 50 and 35. It said, a sword is upon the Chaldeans, said the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. All right, so as you jump down, just to get to the point, all right,
Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, all goes hand in hand with Revelation.
I start at 38. A drought is upon her waters. This is speaking of Babylon the Great, right? Because the Neo-Babylonian Empire didn't fall like this. And they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images. All of those idols, all of that wickedness, all that witchcraft, pharmakia. All right. And they are mad upon their idols. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there, and the owl shall dwell therein. And there shall be, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither.
Talking about America, Jeremiah 50:39 goes hand in hand with Isaiah 13 and Isaiah 34.
There shall it be dwelt in
and Revelation 18 and 1 and 2.
From generation to generation. Okay, this is speaking of Babylon the Great. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah in the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. So as the Lord God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, such shall Babylon the Great receive the same fate. So how was Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed? Okay, this is the book of Genesis 19 and 24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. He overthrew those cities and all the plain and the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. Okay. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Okay. And we know in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 10th chapter, it lets you know that this is a monument. This is a memorial. This is a memory that eternally burns. All right. Although it's not physically burning, but it's an eternal memorial and memory. All right. To what happens, not only to those who do wickedness, but to those who look back. Okay. But as you can see here,
looking back would be taking the mark. That means you look back. Worship his image, meaning you look back. You want to eat.
A common theme is the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire. So let's go back to Revelation, the 19th chapter. Okay. In the 20th verse. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. They're all going to fall, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive. See, they're going to be alive into a lake burning with brimstone. See that? Brimstone. Okay? Let's get the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter, which Deacon Hakah and, Hassad are of the opinion that this is actually speaking of the land of Basra, which we did a video showing you we're going to inhabit via, the Obadiah. We're going
Yeah, the Most High is not dealing with these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they took the bag.
to inhabit the cities and the territory of Edom, which is a very important territory to inhabit as a king, as a ruler. Okay? So that land is going to be inhabited. That land is going to be inherited, all right, by the children of Israel to enlarge their borders, right? But Basra, which we did a video, if you've been watching, all right, Basra symbolizes America. This is Isaiah 34 and 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. All right. And it ain't too many Edomites over in the literal landmass of Basra right now. You got Arabs, other heathens, some Edomites, but Esau dwells here. Okay.
Basra simply is, in prophecy, Basra is another name for Babylon the Great or America.
This is where the bulk of them are at, right here in the Americas. All right. And, Esau's everywhere, but this is the great judgment associated with Esau's fall is the destruction of America, which is likened unto Basra. Okay. It says the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams, saith the Lord. For the Lord hath the sacrifice in Basra. Okay. In a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. That symbolizes Babylon the Great. And we're going to prove to you that. All right. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks and the bulls and the ass and the lamb shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. So it's going to be.
Those are all sacrificial animals. I did the video on it yesterday. And the Most High is describing these Edomites like you describe sacrificial animals. Because America is a big altar. That's why the prophets are here. When Edomites say, if you don't like this, leave the country. And your response is, no, we're supposed to be here to condemn the country. Just like, no different than Moses was he condemned Egypt when he was in the land of Egypt. And what else? During the time of Daniel, the prophets, not just one prophet, they all condemned Babylon while they were in the land of Babylon.
Be a great slaughter in that land, America. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of the recompenses of the controversy of Zion, for the controversies of Zion. As it says in the book of Baruch, miserable are the cities which thy sons and daughters served. Okay? It says, and the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone. And the land thereof shall become a burning pitch. Let's get this in the NLT. As a matter of fact, let's just do it here, right? Just follow the logic. The streams of Edom will be filled with burning pitch. The ground will be covered with fire. See that? And it is that.
It's all talking about one place, America, Babylon the Great, Bozrah, the lake of fire. America is the lake of fire.
That brimstone is there. Okay? Which is the lake of fire is likened unto brimstone. It says, this judgment on Edom will never end. The smoke of its burning will rise forever. And we know that the Edomites are eventually going to go into captivity. So it's not like they're going to be tormented in fire forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. The elites.
That's why you got IUIC teaching that there's an actual spiritual hell going off.
Will scurry into the bunkers, right? And they'll be the first fruits of slavery. But even these Edomites that burn here in Babylon and certain parts of the earth, they're not going to burn forever. Okay, it says the land will lie deserted all right, deserted from generation to generation. No one will live there anymore. And again, this is speaking of the same judgment we read about with Babylon the Great. All right, Jeremiah 50 and 39, and the wild beast of the desert and the wild beasts of the island shall dwell therein, and the owls shall dwell therein, and there shall be no more inhabited forever. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man abide therein, neither shall there be any son of man dwell therein. Again, let's go back to Isaiah 34. Okay. This judgment in 10, this judgment on Edom will never end. The smoke of its burning will rise forever. Okay. And again, you can get Revelation 19. Okay. Revelation 19. And 2, for true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. So this is all the same judgment, right? And we'll go back here, but let's go to Isaiah 34, right? So the judgment on Edom will never end. The smoke of his burning will rise forever. The land will lie deserted from generation to generation. No one will live there anymore. And this can't be talking about the physical landmass of Basra, because pursuant to the book of Obadiah, if you didn't see it, just get it real quick. Obadiah. All right. Obadiah. Verse 19, then my people living in the Negev will occupy the mountains of Edom. Those living in the foothills of Judah, all right, will possess the plains of the Philistines. So we're going to be occupying the mountains of Edom, which Basra is over there. The King's Highway, all of that. We're going to be occupying that just as our King David did, all right, and Solomon. We're going to inherit those territories. So this here is not speaking of Basra. Okay, you idiots, man. Okay, you guys causing this confusion.
Yeah, Basra. You have an actual Basra from the past. When you read about Basra in the future, it's talking about America. All right.
And again, the lake of fire is not separate from this judgment we're reading. Okay? The land will lie deserted from generation to generation. No one will live there anymore. It will be haunted by the desert owl and by the screech owl and the great owl and the raven, for God will measure that land carefully. He will measure it for chaos and destruction. Okay, this is the modern day Tophet. Let's get that. Isaiah 30 and 33. For Tophet is ordained of old. Yeah, for the king it is prepared. He hath made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of brimstone, doth kindle it. See that? In Tophet. Okay. All right. The path. All right. All right. It says, place of fire, a place in the south end of the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem. What is the valley of Hinnom? Let's type in Hinnom. Right? We've been getting you that history, because basically the valley of Hinnom, all right, is associated with Gehenna. All right, let's type in hellfire. All right. Matthew 18 and 9. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is better for thee to enter into life with one eye rather than having two eyes and be cast into hellfire. Okay. All right, Gehenna. All right, Gehenna. All right, which describes a future judgment associated with how Gehenna was. It was perpetually burning bodies. All right, worms feasting on dead bodies. All right, and the places where the fire didn't get to, the worms would feast on dead bodies, man. Okay, it says hell is the place of a future punishment called Gehenna. All right, which that's the lake of fire, man. This was originally the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem. Okay, where the filth and dead animals of the city were cast out and burned, a fit symbol of the wicked and their future destruction. A symbol. Okay, a symbol. Hanam. Okay, Hanam means lamentation. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of lamentation. Okay? The hill of evil counsel. All right, but again, what do we read in Isaiah? Tophet is a place of fire, man. All right? A place of fire, man. Associated with the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is Gehenna. So again, this is a particular place on earth that's going to be destroyed. Okay? Esau is the modern day Assyrian. Okay? But again, Tophet is ordained of old. So the Lord have ordained this place for a complete and utter fire, man. With brimstone. See that? With brimstone. Okay, let's get the book of Revelation 11:6. Upon the wicked, all right, he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone in a horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. See that? Brimstone, man. Luke 17:29. But the same day Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Again, Revelation the 19th chapter tells you that the lake of fire is burning with brimstone because it is the destruction of Babylon the Great. See that? Synonymously, the armies of the heathen are going to be destroyed wherever they are. And a remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat on a horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So as you go up, okay, when Yahushua returns with the angels, okay, Michael being one of the high-ranking members in that military, Revelation 19:15, out of his mouth, started in 14, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treaded the winepress with the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty God.
By the way, he's not coming on. You guys don't know when you come across a prophetic scripture, whether it's literal or figurative, whether it's actual or spiritual or in the form of a vision. It says he's going to come in a white horse. Ezra said he's coming on a mountain. When the apostles saw him leave, he went up into a cloud. Revelation chapter 6, it said he came on a white horse, declaring victory, conquering and to conquer. He's not coming on a white horse. So you guys look at the destruction of America, that's one thing, and da-da-da. But then the lake of fire is something else. That means the Spirit is not working with you guys. The Spirit is not working with you guys. In Genesis, you seem like you guys are worse. You guys are the worst group. Them two demons. And what can I say? How much can I say? We know that you guys are going off because you keep changing things. The Spirit is not working with you. You two guys are not of the elect. I never thought that Hassad was, I never thought he was elect. I said, nah, this guy's not. Al-Azhar, based on what I said, nah, that guy's can't be an elect. If you're going to bend over and let somebody put something in your rear end, you know? Hassad, he first went to, you can say this spirit, they ain't dealing with Hassad, because you can tell the first place he went to the ISUBK. ISUBK ain't no spiritual, deep scripture camp. There's only a few brothers that know them scriptures in the ISUBK. I don't know about it. I can't speak on that really because I don't know. But I know there's certain camps where they just there. They just whatever, you know, they just there. But Hassad, you went to the ISUBK. Then you went from the ISUBK to the Sakari. And then we told you in between that, when you went to Sakari, you should need to leave Sakari and get with us. I said that years ago. But you didn't listen. But guess what happened? The leader of Sakari kicked you out. So you get with this other demon, Hakar, and I'm pretty sure he influences you. That's why you're coming up with this old craziness, man. This crazy, these crazy doctrines. But y'all are stumbling blocks. So you're doing what that Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wants you to do. And to show you that you guys secretly, follow GMS because you changed certain things, but you didn't change the name for some reason. Now, if we're false prophets, why would we have the name right? Why would we have the name Yahweh right, say it right, and the name Yahweh Shai right? If you're saying we changed this, they didn't break this, the GMS didn't break. Okay, what about the Sabbath? Why don't you just go back to Friday sundown and Saturday sundown? And what about the mark of the beast? Why don't you got two major camps that teach us the mark of the beast. Is it embargo and other things? Nate keeps changing it every couple of months. So why you? Because the Spirit is working with us. The Spirit is working with us.
He treaded the winepress, which can be associated with Isaiah, the 63rd chapter. Okay?
I was going through that the other day. I was hitting some of these same precepts. If I didn't hit them, I'd mention them. I started with Isaiah 63, then I went from Isaiah 63 to Isaiah 34. Then I mentioned certain other precepts, but pretty much what the elders bringing out is pretty much in the same spirit that I'm bringing. He ain't saying nothing wrong. He's just bringing out the scriptures in a different order.
Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? That is glorious in his apparel, the chariots traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. See,
so wait a minute. If this is talking about Mount Seir, that region, then there's Israelites that the Most High got to save. No, the Most High, well, let me go to Edom because you got Israelites there and I'm going to pick them up for. No. The Edom is talking about Babylon the Great. Bozrah is talking about Babylon the Great. How do we know that? Isaiah 34. It speaks about Babylon the Great being I believe it says the land of Edom or Idumea. So you guys, so this truth is messing your head up. You're trying to be deep, and you're getting into deep confusion.
See that? Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, which is symbolizing the destruction. He's not going to get blood on him. Yahweh Shai, come on.
You had, I believe, if I'm wrong, forgive me. I believe even Nate said, "Yeah, you're gonna have blood all over him." No, he's not gonna have. He's gonna jump out that ship. And he's gonna, like a kung fu movie, he's gonna be chopping heads and blood is gonna fall off. No, that's symbolic. That's what Isaiah saw. He's gonna be clean. He's gonna be sharp as a tack, as they used to say. Boy, use it sharp as a tack. He's gonna be sharp as a tack. He ain't gonna have no dust on him.
Oh, now, but it's symbolizing the great slaughter. And thy garments like him that treadeth in the winefat. I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, because he's going to deliver his elect from it. Everybody else is subject to judgment. Those who stay.
The main place where the elect's going to be, the great salvation is going to come in America. When Yahushua spoke about Gehenna, he said, "With the place where the worm dieth not," he was talking about America. He was comparing Gehenna, which the word goes back to the Hebrew. If you look it up, the Gehenna meaning valley. I don't know how to say it. I got to look it up, but it translates in the Hebrew to valley. What is it? A valley. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me go ahead and look it up again. Let me go to. He just went through it. Let me come over here, King James, and let me go to hellfire. Okay, thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire. Let's open it up. Fire is per, that's Greek for fire, and this is G1067. The word there, let me let you hear it.
Strong's G1067, Gehenna.
Gehenna, which is Hebrew, goes back to the Hebrew. This is Gaia. Let's look it up. Valley. Gaia is valley. And this is Hanum, which is lamentation, valley of lamentation. Let me come back over here. Gehenna, valley of lamentation. Hell is a place, it's not talking about the actual hell. Hell is a place of future punishment called Gehenna or Gehenna of fire. This was originally the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem, where the filth and dead animals of the city were cast out and burned, a fit symbol of the wicked, which are the Edomites, and their future destruction. So when Yahushua was talking about the place where the worm dieth not, he was talking about Gehenna, but he was saying America's going to be just like Gehenna, how they throw the animals, the beasts. When you go to Isaiah 34, who was sacrificed? These sacrificial animals, which are the Edomites. And they're going to be cast in that lake of fire, the Gehenna, meaning America, also known as the lake of fire. This is not hard. But if you're not a prophet of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, you're going to go off. You're not going to see it. The Most High is going to blind you. Let their table be made a snare. In Isaiah, it says they're going to vomit it back up. This is what these guys are going through. And we can see right through it, but these people that are not, their eyes are not spiritually open, they're going to see it. Isaiah. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. So if your spiritual eyes ain't open, he gonna vomit on the table, and you're gonna lick that vomit up. So let's come back over here. Also, in Matthew 13, you can start from the 38th verse on down. It speaks about they're gonna bind the tares in bundles. The tares represent Edomites, and put them in an oven Oh, the day shall come that shall burn as an oven. Same event. Babylon being destroyed in the lake of fire. The lake of fire is Babylon, which is America.
They alive will scurry to wherever they scurry to, for I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury.
You're going to have the super elite. They're going to have an escape plan. Some of them are going to go out in outer space. Some are going to go out into mountain retreats. What is this? Mountain, what is it called? Cheyenne Mountain. Let me do this. Yeah, this guy's. If they're not talking about getting this guy in a straitjacket, they got to cover up for this guy. Trump amplifies another outlandish conspiracy theory. Biden is a robot. Now, if we hear Israel said that, Vocab and all these dudes are crazy. They're saying that Vocab Malone is really a robot, which he probably is. And what I say I was going to go. Cheyenne Mountain Retreat. Let me do it this way. Cheyenne Mountain. Cheyenne Mountain Bunker. There it is. It just tells you they're going to run into the mountains. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex, also known as Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, is a hardened military installation and nuclear bunker located within Cheyenne Mountains in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I know about Colorado. I used to live out there. I was out there. I was back and forth from New York to Colorado. It was built during the Cold War to serve as the NORAD, North American Aerospace Defense Command, a combat operations center, and continued to be used for various military and defense-related operations, including space and missile defense to defend against the missiles. I want to see how many people they can hold. It can hold. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. How many people can hold? Okay, the Cheyenne Mountain Reserve to withstand nuclear attacks, a temporary hold up to 800 people. It also equipped to house around 600 residents. The facility also has the capacity to hold as many as 5,000 people in an emergency. I thought it was 1 million. There's 5,000 people. So there's going to be select people that's going to get up in there. Select people. The government, the U.S. government, they're going to be the government body, Congress, Supreme Court, the executive branch, which is the president and his cabinet, and their family members will either go to some bunker or something like that. The super rich is going to be out of here. They know that Babylon going to get hit with missiles. Let me see. What was I going to say? Ask. Oh. Continuity of government, meaning. Continuity of government, COG, or COG, refers to the measures a government takes to ensure its essential functions can continue to be performed. They want to keep the government going. If everybody dies and it's just the government, then they'll start from start from scratch. Be performed during a crisis or emergency, such as, which is a black swan event. You can look that up, such as a disaster or attack. They in their scenario, there's a thing called, what is it called? Game theory. Look that up. They deal with all kind of scenarios that can happen, and how would they, what would they do when it happens? So one of their scenarios is if they get hit by, ICBMs, to be performed during a crisis or emergency, such as a disaster or attack or black swan event. This includes ensuring the three branches of government, and I mentioned that: executive, that's the president and his cabinet; legislative, that's the Congress; the House of Reps and the Senate; and the judicial, the Supreme Court and federal courts under them. Remain functional at all levels, federal, state, and local. Right, so state represents governors in their cabinet. Local represents mayors and so forth in their cabinets. COG or COG, continuity of government. They showed you that in the movie Deep Impact. I believe it was somewhere in the Midwest where they had these asphalt mines. So I forget the number, but they said we can put 1 million people in here, but the rest of y'all just gonna have to, you're gonna have to die. And I believe they use the term continuity of government. Plans focus on maintaining vital services and ensuring a smooth transition of power if necessary. You got to build the government back. See, Esau, there's nothing that you can hide from him. Esau is wiser. He's wiser than Daniel, meaning he checks us out. You know what they say when they watch us and we speak about subjects such as this, about the destruction? They already have a plan. They're saying, well, what if that does actually happen? What are we going to do? Well, they're going to apply continuity of government. Right, Denmark during the Cold War. And this usually, they do exercises during the Cold War. Denmark built 2 bunker complexes named Reagan Continuity Operation, also known as Continuity of Operation, U.S. Department of Labor. Let me go there. Let me do this. So you as you can see. So let's go back. Listen to a little bit more.
And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will slain all my
See, I was watching some of this earlier. I got to watch the rest of it. Read Hebrew Israelites and Mormons preach false gospel. And you got an Edomite woman, appear to be an Edomite and Jake woman. They're gonna die. They're gonna die here in America. Hey, the main people that come up against the whole Hebrew Israelite, doctrine, the true doctrine, are mostly Jakes. So the hell with them ninjas, man. And I got a new acronym. It's, what the hell is it? I thought about it this morning. And I'll remember to start using it. YHINs. YHINs. You heard of YNs? So when you hear me say YHINs, you know what I'm talking about.
Raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come.
Redeem means to buy back, purchase back. You go to the store, they say, okay, you buy this object or this product, you're going to get a receipt. When you come back the next time, you get it for free. If you lose it, you don't get nothing. So he gonna bring his receipt with him, his coupon to get Israel back, to redeem this, to save.
Okay, and it's not.
And the great salvation is going to take place in America, in the U.S. You're going to have elect that are scattered, but the majority of the elect will come out of America. So guess what? The focus on the people that you're teaching is not over there in Africa somewhere. It's here in America.
Not like Yahweh Shah is going to come back. Let's get Isaiah 9. And jump off the chariot with a physical sword.
Yeah, you're going to jump off the chariot, and the angel going to say, "No, you don't need to do that. You're going to get that clean white suit dirty." He said, "Nah, I want a piece of him. I want to feel." When you chop him with the sword, you feel it. That's what our high priest Ariel used to say. You got to use the sword because you feel it. So he's going to jump out the ship. He's going to say, "Michael, take guard of the ship. I'm going to get busy." Then he jumps to the earth. Yeah. Then he starts chopping heads off, and blood and guts is all over his garment. He jumps back in the ship, and his suit is all bloody. His white, beautiful suit is all bloody. You got to have the angels pull hearts and lungs off you, and red. And see, this is only for a small handful of people, man. The elect is a small number as compared to Israel.
Isaiah 9 and 5, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Fuel.
And the fuel of fire, as you go down to about the 18, 17 verse, I might even go to it, they're going to be the fuel of fire. When you perform an animal sacrifice, what makes the animal burn for a certain amount of time? The fuel that's in the flesh.
Fuel of fire. See that? It's going to be with fuel of fire, man. So you people don't know what you're talking about. And that's associated with the great judgment of Babylon the Great, which is going to be destroyed. All right, Isaiah 13 and 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And that was by brimstone, fire and brimstone. Okay? It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there. You see? And again, it's going to be a chaotic event, man. But the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. This is eventually when the smoke, when the fire, subside, it's going to be just inhabited. Pretty sure it's going to be smoke over it. It's going to be a eerie, creepy place, but it's going to be a memorial for remembrance of what happened, all right, to this place that greatly rebelled against the Lord, man. Okay, and all the souls tied to the judgment of Babylon the Great and the judgment that took place that weren't beamed up. You Israelites, all right, you're always going to be tied to this. Okay? And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days will not be
Yeah, this is the lake of fire after the fire ceases.
prolonged. See, this is going to be a chaotic event. Okay? But for some reason, it's not enough for Jake. They want after this, instead of what the Lord prescribes to happen after this, which is eventually New Jerusalem comes down and sets up order, purge out the rebels that are around. Jake wants a hell, like a big river full of fire where people will just torment it forever. Nah, man. Jeremiah 50:46, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and a cry is heard among the nations. The earth is going to be moved. Okay, Isaiah 24.
Yep, I was just going to say it. Isaiah 24.
All right, Isaiah 24.
Anybody teaching contrary to what we're teaching on any level, you're not Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is not dealing with you. Anyway, you can watch the rest of this. Anyway, I'm going to go on, move on. We're going to the next one later on. With that, Shalom.